Thanks so much for listening to the Dale Hollow Lake podcast. To keep up with everything Dale Hollow, follow and subscribe on Facebook, YouTube, Apple Music, or Spotify.
All right, so on this edition of the podcast, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about, so you want to buy a marina, and that's a big question mark because, that's not something that people just decide to do, and it's not, may not be what you thought it was going to be. So we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to talk about the next generation of marina owners. In this case, Denny's got 3 boys, right?
3 boys, daughter-in-law.
Yeah. So what are the boys' name?
Nick, Kurt, and the other one is Andy.
Okay.
Is this
then, hey, and then we got Nathan and Lee. Wave. Okay, so I guess I'll start. I mean, we bought the marina 15 years ago. It was in 2007. The economy and the stock market was at an all-time high. And I decided that I wanted to do something else. And so I pulled all my money out of the stock market. I quit my job and got all my 401k and stock options out. And my wife was, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to buy a boat and head to the Bahamas and beyond and quit everything and sell everything. And she wouldn't let me do it. She said, we have boys, and he'd love it. Would you have loved that, Nathan?
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah. So you'd have to be homeschooled, which wouldn't have bothered you a bit. But she said, no, we got boys. We can't do that. So I said, well, I'm going to buy a marina. And she said, okay, was very supportive until I made an offer. And then she went off. And she goes, I said, you've been real supportive all along. I don't understand. And she goes, I never thought you'd really do it. And I sure as hell didn't think anybody'd loan you any money. So long story short is we bought a marina. And in 2008, the economy crashed. And stock market all-time low. The company I worked for, stock went from $46 down to 53 cents. And it's rebounded. If you look at it today with all the adjustments, it's rebounded to about $8. So it would have been a burden on me I would have lost a lot of money. So, but the marina did well. It did way better than the guy before me when the economy was good. So we've had, well, that's kind of how we got into it. Now, Nathan, you started when you was 12 years old. You've worked every summer since then. And then you started doing this full time after graduating from college, right?
2017, yes.
Okay. So, and Lee, you've done this since you were 16, right? Who knew that we would hire a girl that he would marry? But I picked you out, but we won't go into that story. So anyway, so it's worked out well for us. So Denny, how did you decide to buy a marina?
Yeah, I was in the cell tower business. It was in the wintertime, so we were slow. I was living on a houseboat at Green River. Every night that the Deadliest Catch came on, we had a party on somebody's front of their boat. We all wore life jackets. We watched the show. And it was getting towards the end of this where the profitability was really sliding. There were too many hands in the pot of the cell tower business. When we first started, it wasn't how much does it cost, it was how many can you do. So it was very lucrative. So my sons all got into it with me. They all worked in the summertime, started working in the summer times. They were making a lot of money. So it was hard for me to get them to go to college. So they went to trade school, got their electric schooling. But anyway, we're sitting there, and I was kind of at the point where I'm really wanting to get out of this because it's hard to get the paid, it was harder to work, it wasn't as profitable. And the guy who owned the boat says, Terry wants to sell this marina. It's like a lightning bolt hit me in the head. That's what I want to do. So I started talking with Terry. at Emerald Isle, and he wanted to get out really bad. So I offered, hey, I'll manage it for you for a year to see if this is something I want to do or can do. And so we did. My boys came on. Kurt went to the Navy out of high school, so he was other places. But Nick and Andy, they came with us, and they started working there. We started learning marina business, and getting our feet wet, figure out this is something we can do. We had a lot of construction experience. We did a lot of repairs on his dock. But we couldn't get the deal done. His wife didn't want to sell it. It was a cash cow. She just wouldn't get the deal. We went to closing 3 times and couldn't get it closed. So I got mad and said, I'm going to Dale Hollow. That's where I grew up. And when I started talking to Cedar Hill, and we tried to do the deal there, but he was so upside down. Figured out that Dale Hollow was up for sale. We were going to go to auction, and it was a fire sale. So I jumped in. I wasn't as fortunate as you to have a bunch of money.
Hey, let me clarify something. I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
This deal was owner finance.
Well, that's kind of what mine did. I did an owner finance, and and it was this space was a shithole. It was very, very unmaintained. It was ready to fall apart. When I first got here, there were signs all over the walkway. I said, man, that's pretty unique, putting signs on the walkway. We took one up. That's because there was a hole in the walkway. So
I remember that.
So we knew we were going to have to rebuild this whole dock. And I, had some connections from Cell Tires that had some money, and they helped me out financially to rebuild this thing until I could get this thing showing a profit, get a bank to do a loan on. So it took 2 years to actually get some financing. So at that point, my goal was always to get Cedar Hill. We tried a couple of times, and finally the bank called me up and said, hey, he's dropped the keys on the desk. He's out. Do you still want to buy this? I said, well, I do. We're going to beat the same offer. And I said, no, that's out the door a long time ago. So we negotiated the deal, and we got it bought. And, by then I had enough credit to do some financing, but I had some other, private financing to help me get into it real fast, keep going. So
Right place, right time for you. I mean, I know you stole that marina.
Yeah.
You stole it. So,
but again, it was another rebuild, total rebuild. So
I don't think that you could walk into a deal like that again.
No.
That's like a once in a lifetime deal.
Yeah.
So now you're like a multi marina owner, and cash is rolling in, and
that's what everybody thinks. It's all right. We're not killing it, but we're making our way.
Yeah, I know that, some of the things that I started telling my son, and, running a marina or owning your own business, if something goes wrong, I mean, it's 10 times worse than managing somebody else's business. I mean, because it's all on you.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, if something goes good, it's 10 times better than working for somebody else. So you have the extreme of, like when I was a district manager, somebody went into one of my stores and stole like 10 TVs. It made me mad, but it wasn't my money. When you own your own business, those TVs, that's all on you. I mean, it's all out of your pocket. So owning your own business is exciting, but at the same time, you have all the risk is on you. But I will tell you that when I started owning my own business, I don't think I had to set an alarm clock ever again. I mean, I just woke up in the morning ready to go to work. So what are the best things that you've seen owning a marina?
Obviously, people that are your customers, relationships you build with that, like you said, being your own boss, making your own decisions, bringing your family into that, growing it for the future for your family. My biggest dream.
How about your worst day so far?
Taking over Cedar Hill.
Big snow.
Yeah. We had just finished building, 40 or 30 new slips, and we had that 14-inch snowfall with ice over a 24-hour period, and it collapsed everything we built. Plus, we were just devastated. If it wasn't for insurance, we'd been broke. But it took a long time for insurance to settle. It took a whole year. So we had a tough 2 years putting it back together. We struggled hard.
You know, another thing I say is that we're always one day away from a disaster.
It's like you lost your whole marina and moved down the river. That was tough.
Yeah, that was Nathan, would you say that's our worst day ever? Watching our marina break loose and go?
100%.
Yeah. And I'm amazed. I mean, that happened in February and we opened on time in March. Now we weren't completely open, but that was a good year for us. I mean, we got all the boats ready and the marina ready to open, and we were ready to go when the season started.
It was a lot to get it going.
Yeah. And all the things you have to do with the core and electric. And I mean, they made me upgrade to the most latest codes for electric. And insurance paid for all that, which is really cool. It was also COVID time and they didn't want to come out and look and see what was going on, but that they wanted to settle. So that was good for us as well. So Nathan, you what would you say your best day at the marina, or best year, or best memory?
It's probably meeting people. It's always cool to be able to go to, like, we're just talking the other day, you go up to Indianapolis and you go to these boat shows, and there's probably more people that know us in Indianapolis than they do here in like Cookeville. So it's pretty cool how I can build these relationships with people that are 6, 7, or, you know, even people up in Michigan, 12 hours away. And, you know, those people are long-standing customers and you just build a relationship with them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What about Denny? What about your boys? Who wants to chime in? And
I had a day, it was right when the realization that we were getting Cedar Hill kind of came together. And I drove my car up to Cedar Hill and got about the highest point and looked over all of it and just started crying tears of joy, just because we had worked so hard at Dale Hollow Marina, and it was like all that hard work was paying off, and being able to look over Cedar Hill and see everything that we were getting and all the benefits of the hard work. You know, it was just emotionally overwhelming. And I literally just sat there and cried tears of joy as I looked over Cedar Hill. That was a big day for me.
I think my wife would have cried if I'd have bought another marina too, but it would have been a little bit different than your joy. In fact, speaking of Wendy, she just walked in.
Wendy?
Morning.
Morning.
How is everyone?
We're fine. We're fine.
We were just talking about our best and worst day at the marina. So if you don't have a best day, that's okay. But you can talk about it a little bit.
My best day at the marina?
Or the best memory, then you like the most?
You know, I think part of it for me would be the customer base that we've developed, and that we're kind of to that point now, being that we're a smaller marina, that we keep seeing the same people over and over. And, you know, that part of it, we've made so many new friends, so many new relationships. They're coming off vacations now and they're booking automatically for next year. So I kind of feel like every year it gets a little bit easier and easier because we know them. It's like just, you know, another visit. It's like, hey, how have you guys been? You know, so that part for us, or for me, is really cool. You know, I recognize their voices on the telephone. We had one call yesterday and I knew as soon as I walked in who it was, just by his voice on the telephone. So that part is really good. Worst days, it's the customers as well. Sometimes you get, you know, I always joke, I said, there's always one a year. We usually have one customer a year that is kind of the worst. And we get, well, maybe not just one, but there's one that just always kind of
Stands out.
sticks out every year. And, you know, and hopefully we get that one person early in the season, and then we just coast the rest of the year. But you know, those are the worst days, is just when you try your hardest every day, you do your best every day, you want to offer them the best product for the money they're spending, and you still can't make everybody happy no matter how hard you try. So not taking that personally is hard for me.
Yes.
So I
I do
Take it.
that, Wendy. I've got to where we have that kind of person, just, you cannot please. I just get face to face. I said, look, I'm sorry, we can't make you happy. There's 13 other marinas on Dale Hollow. I would suggest that you try one, because obviously we're not.
Yeah, we usually say go to Cedar Hill.
That was good.
No, we don't do that. But yeah, you just can't make them all happy. Now, when we get customers like that, I don't do confrontation well. I don't like it at all. So I deflect it to him. He and Richard and Nathan are fantastic at it. Lee and I just kind of shrink off in the corner someplace and try not to make ourselves known anywhere. But Richard and Nathan are very, very good at handling those customers.
I don't like to do it, but I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I've learned over the years, I've had to deal with customers at all different levels. And, you know, I feel sorry for the associates in some of the retail stores. I mean, we've just trained people. Walmart has trained people to yell and scream and get their way. And I always have to tell customers that they're not at Walmart. And if they're nice to me and tell me what's wrong, I guarantee I'll make it right. But if they want to stand and scream and yell, they probably need to just leave. Anyway, that normally stops it. And it's a very rare occasion. I mean,
Yeah.
but Wendy does take it personal. So what about you guys?
Okay.
All right. So my birthday is usually around Memorial Weekend.
Oh,
Last year it was on Memorial Day. And they're like, are you taking off? And I said, no, that's the best present. Everybody's leaving. So, so it was really great. Yet last year, everybody was saying bye, happy birthday, bye. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
so.
So these relationships, I mean, you guys obviously have had them as well. I mean, sometimes they, you know, you're friends, but they give you money, you know. It still has to be a business. You can't just give everybody a discount because you like them, because you have to pay the bills. So anyway, we've gotten close with a lot of people that come year after year after year. But the next generation, I mean, that's part of what we're talking about is, you know, Nathan, since he was 12 years old, I mean, I've been calling him my
Exit
my
plan.
partner. What?
That too. Your exit plan.
Well, that too, yeah. So, but he's been, you know, my business partner, and he's always wanted to take it over.
Yeah, we would go look at marinas, and I was 12 years old, but I looked like I was 8. And yeah, he would introduce me as his business partner.
Yeah. And that kind of bit me because that first year he said he thought he should make more than anybody. And he truly said that. But that first
I think
summer,
those are the words. I don't remember the words, but
yeah, I said, can you drive to town and pick up stuff? Well, no. But he did a lot of stuff around here. I had a big Titan truck, and I had to send him up to take a grill to a customer. Of course, he could drive. Well, we didn't let him drive, you know, around other than maybe up the hill.
He could hardly see over the steering wheel in that truck.
So he jumps out of the car, him and his cousin, and the customer's like, son, do you have a driver's license? And he goes, no, ma'am, but I got a fishing license. Must have been 13, not 12 when that happened, but yeah.
So are you guys looking forward to taking this business over?
I mean, we all have our own parts that we cover of it. So
I'm in no hurry. I see all the extra stress that the owner has to go through. I mean, after hours, people still come and knock on your houseboat, things like that. There's a lot more to it when you're the owner. So I'm glad to let him and my mom handle that extra stress for as long as they'd like to.
Yeah.
You know, it is a 24-hour-a-day job. When you got houseboats out on the water, especially, something goes wrong, they call you. And, you know, for the longest time, those phone calls came to me. And this year, Nathan has taken over a bunch of that. But, you know, I always have said that phone call could be worth thousands of dollars.
yeah,
You know, if somebody calls you at 7 o'clock at night and they want to spend, you know, $5,000 or $6,000 on a houseboat coming up, why wouldn't you take that call?
Yeah.
Now, we've had times, Nathan, where like houseboats, I mean, they take a lot of maintenance. We started out with 2-stroke engines. We all got all 4 strokes now. That probably took away most of our calls because they're finicky. They don't start. You flood them. Anyway, once we got 4-stroke engines on there, it made a big difference.
That helps. Every once in a while, we get a call in the middle of the night, a generator turns off. You know, most of the time we can walk somebody through it over the phone. Gone out a few times. You know, there's been a few times at 6 o'clock at night we've had to go out. We end up being out after dark. We don't like doing it after dark just because it's dangerous for everybody. Had to go out one night at like midnight. Girl fell off a table, was dancing on a table and fell and ended up breaking her arm. So I had to take EMT out to pick her up. She ended up getting taken by ambulance, ended up getting transferred to Vanderbilt. It was pretty bad, but you know, there's always that chance of getting a call whenever.
We've had a few of them, copperhead spikes. We try to, you know, if we get a generator call in the middle of the night, we just have said, look, we can't send somebody out in daylight. It's not safe. And everybody's gone with it. You know, we just open it up. You know, we'll take fans. We'll take whatever we got to do to get the generator. We'll take the generator out. You know, Kurt usually, he's our mechanic. He's the one who luckily gets all that motor breakdowns or refrigerators and stuff like that. We try to tell them before they leave, you don't come out after dark because of safety issues. And
Well, going out after dark is not a good idea. And we will go only if it's, they're very close. I got a boat set up with lights everywhere. If they're on the other side of the lake, then we won't do that. We want them to tell us way before dark. Like our biggest problem is somebody will say, I've been having a problem all day long. You know, they're calling it yet dark. Well, it's too late.
Like everyone's shaking their head.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So our after hours recording now says if this is a houseboat emergency and it can't wait till tomorrow morning, then they can, you know, push a button and it'll go to my cell phone. But you know, we've had people call in the middle of the night before we had that kind of stuff, and you're not getting a really good signal. And so you're thinking it's really bad because they call like 50 times and you lose them every time. So you go out there and it's toaster or something silly, you know.
Midnight drunk snack.
A what?
A midnight drunk snack, and you know, something wasn't working.
Yep. Couldn't get the microwave to work.
So yeah,
Mhm.
you know, one of the things that we did, in fact, Cedar Hill, the previous owners, one of the boys died going out to fix a houseboat.
exactly.
That's what we.
It's dark and it looked like it rammed him right into a rock wall and he died. So at that point we sat down and what are the main reasons that we get calls? And one of them was somebody runs out of propane. So from then on, we always put 2 bottles of propane on a boat and we never have to go out because they're out of propane. So there's always an extra bottle.
Calls that they're out of propane are usually not happy because that means somebody didn't do their job.
Yeah. But I don't know that that's ever happened, has it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
happened. Not as often.
And of course, those calls come just as you're sitting down for dinner.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So,
Or we have family gatherings that we have here at the store. We have birthday parties. It's never failed. Like the worst one
Oh, yeah.
was we had a birthday party. We get a phone call and our houseboat's down in Sulphur Creek. It's on fire. The gas attendant down there put a lock on it and kept it going. He didn't turn the generator off. It overflowed, went down there, it just blew up the back end of the boat. That was it for the birthday party. We had to run.
oh my gosh.
But it was,
Yeah.
I get down there, Mike says, looked like you had electric fire.
Mm.
One of Richard's most favorite things to say is, we're just one storm away from losing everything.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you run a business like this, it's things like that, fires, storms, you're always on edge when those things happen. And, you know, safety, you can't stress it enough. Because you hear about marinas all the time, catching fire and, you know, storm damage and you know, we've kind of had ours, so I feel like we should get a pass from now on, but you know, every time something like that happens, you just think, okay, is this going to be the time, you know?
This past week, you know, them winds tore up a couple marinas. And I remember talking to you, Denny, in the morning, seeing how you were when the wind was coming out of the west, out of the east. And I was good. And later that afternoon, we talked again, and you said it changed coming out of the west, and houseboats broke loose, and
We were all hands on deck. It was a fire drill. It took a lot to get it all put back, hold. You know, fortunately, they were right with the, we had 2 cables snap, old cables, but it, you know, we had enough with the other stuff. They prepared well enough. The docks did, but people with them skinny ropes on their houseboats started snapping.
yeah.
So it was a fire drill.
Yeah,
So
and Tom at Sunset had the same issue. It just a little bit of stuff like that, but Lake Cumberland, I guess they clocked like 80-mile-an-hour winds, and they got busted up pretty bad.
Yeah.
But I would say that the good days way better than the bad days.
Wait, wow, a long shot there.
Yeah, I mean,
Wake up on the lake every day, or wake up in this where we are in today's world is a true blessing.
well,
Yes.
you know what? I mean, I look at your organization and 3 sons to help you. I mean,
And a
that's
daughter-in-law.
Yeah, don't forget
And a
her.
daughter,
Yeah.
right. That is awesome. I mean, I had to recruit Lee, and and I got Nathan. I got another son, but he's very successful in his own right, and is doing well. And this playing on the lake would be what he would like to do, not working on the lake. But you know, we get people that say, "You get to live here." I mean, I can't believe you wake up to this every day. So living here, we kind of take it for granted a little bit until we go back home to the city or something. And, you know, living on the lake's not that bad at all. So it's a good life. You go fishing a lot, don't you, Denny?
I used to.
Oh, my goodness.
I have not fished a lot this year because of the construction we're trying to finish. But I guarantee you, when that's done, I will be fishing every morning till
Yeah.
9, 10 o'clock. I'll get up and go fishing. I used to fish a lot. In between construction, I will fish.
You know, the first 13 years I owned this marina, I hardly fished at all. And the last 2, I fished a little bit more.
he's made up for those 13 years.
Yes, he has. He'll be like, I'm just gonna run up and check that boat real quick. I'll be back 4 hours later.
Yeah.
Time just goes so fast.
Yeah, it
You
does.
know, I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook a couple of days ago, but I caught like 4 or 5 smallmouth up the river here.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We had to put a tracker on his boat because he'd say, "Hey,
Yes.
I'm just gonna go bring my boat around to the gas dock," and
And
He-
it just
Yeah.
he'd
No
never
way.
make it around to the gas dock.
I do have a tracker on my boat.
Yes,
So they still call me and where are you?
because you don't answer.
yeah, you don't charge your phone.
This is a whole nother podcast on how to take care of your aging parent while owning a marina.
There you go.
I'm not your parent, you're aging
No,
too.
them, Nathan and Lee, how to take care of your aging parents while running a business.
So you boys, I mean, you went to school for different trades. So what is it that what's your specialty?
I'm the mechanic. I got very fortunate to have a good mentor with Joe Davidson. He really helped me learn mechanics. School that taught you the basics, but it was really nice to find a 40-year experienced mechanic that took me under his wing and really helped.
Yeah, having a mechanic, you know, I had a banker ask me when I bought this marina, you know, what do you know about fixing boats? What do you know about air conditioning, refrigeration? I don't know nothing, but I guess I have to call somebody like I do my other job. And he was okay with that. But I can tell you that I'm a level 1 mechanic. So yeah, I go out there and check the kill switch And, which resolves a good 10% of the problem, but, so I can check that kind of stuff. But then we go to level 2, which is Nathan. And he's gotten really good at it. Of course, we got a good mechanic that helps us out as well. But it's, the first couple of years, we didn't have a good mechanic like we do now. So it's good to have a mechanic in the family. So what about you other boys?
Andy and I went to school for electrical. So right now with all this construction we're doing, we're able to save money doing the electrical ourselves.
I've always been in, construction and building and stuff. So as far I do a lot of our construction and then also cabin maintenance, changing out water heaters, fixing water heaters, stuff like that. That's always been my job. And, Nick's always been really good with numbers, and he just got certified to run the waste station. So, we all have our own part. And I also learned how to change out a water pump on a generator. So, and that, that's the majority of our service calls. So if
I could do that.
if I can run out there and change out a water pump and Kirk not to have to go one time, that takes a load off of him. If it happens on his day off and I can run out there and do that, that's great, where he doesn't have to come in,
We've learned that if you bring every single tool you could ever imagine with the houseboat, it's going to be something easy. But the one time you think it's going to be a water pump, and you don't bring some special tool or part, that's when it's going to be something more.
Oh yeah.
We have a plastic bin that has every part that you can change on a generator, that depending on which boat goes out and which generator it has, you grab that box and take it with you. So
basic stuff.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about parts. But,
So who runs your office?
And
And Nick helps out in the office a lot too.
he's over at Dale Hollow a lot. Right now, we just consolidate in the wintertime to Dale Hollow office, so we don't keep 2 stores open.
I don't think
Yeah.
combined, I don't think me and Kirk have taken 5 reservations together. So that's just,
I get in trouble if I answer the phone.
Like you get in trouble.
And they took that job away from me because I just couldn't get it right.
That should make you feel
So-
better.
yeah. So Denny, you're an electrician as well, right?
Correct.
So when it comes to an electrician, I mean, we have a really good electrician, but he has been Nathan he wired his whole house.
I think I think he helps y'all with a lot of stuff too.
Who's that?
Doug Manis. Maybe not.
no,
No,
we do all
We do
our own
everything
electric.
in-house.
Like
Okay.
we built 7 cabins a couple years ago and I wired every single one of those. 2 floating cabins and I wired all those up. We pretty much do all our own stuff.
Good. I mean, that's great. I mean, you seem to have your team all ready to go.
Yeah.
If you needed somebody else, what would it be to do? We get it.
HVAC, we call Rich.
Rich Heating and Cooling, they're local kids. Their dad just
Yeah.
recently passed, but they're just tremendous, very responsive, very reasonable.
Well,
And-
our electrician also does heating and cooling. So he's showed some things to Nathan, but yeah, that would be nice to have. That's one of the common problems you have.
We recently hired in a guy that he can fabricate, weld, anything metal, construction wise. He's got the mental capacity. You tell him what you want to do, he can make it from everything, get all the parts and just make it. So we should.
I'd say that one of the hardest things as a marina owner has been trying to get that group of people that can help you fix things like electrician, heating and cooling, and get them to come out here and understand that sense of urgency, that it can't wait till next Tuesday. It has to be done today, and I don't care if they charge me extra, but it's either that or give customers a discount or a refund. You know what I mean?
That's how we
So-
first started having to do that. We got Cedar Hill. We had basically some of them we have to credit their whole trip because it was so bad. Boats were in that bad of shape.
Yeah.
Now we've got a team together. We can cover everything.
Yeah. So we have a pretty good list of reliable people that can come out and take care of things when they should. So let me ask you this. So you guys, how many years have you owned the marina?
12.
12 years.
Yeah, we bought Dale Hollow in January 1st, 2nd of 2012.
Okay.
Both years.
So are you ever gonna sell?
We don't know. You know, some days it's, yeah, hell to sell this thing. Other days, like, you know, I try to explain, like, you know, if I die today, everything's paid for. I got enough life insurance to cover everything. Then you've got a cash cow. You can sit there and run these marinas and make a really good living. You have huge equity in, you know, something for your kids. So that's what we look at. There's some days that everybody looks at each other like, why haven't we sold this? And we constantly get calls, people want to buy.
I think you gotta have some numbers.
I'm wondering why these boys don't hire hitmen.
We
I'm
we've
kidding.
already got a size 9.5 mold for concrete boots.
So man, that'd be an exit plan, wouldn't it? No.
Yeah,
Anyway, so you're constantly getting calls, people wanting to buy it?
constant. People emails and constant. I've had one guy been chasing me for 2 weeks. I just, first time I said, I'm not interested, but he will not stop. And it just keeps going. It's just,
You know,
no, he's not, man. He just wants to sit down and talk. I said, I'm not interested in talking. We're not at that point.
you know, a lot of corporations have come in and bought marinas.
Yeah.
And to me, I think it's bad for the lake.
Yeah.
You know, it's bad for us that are, you know, are family owned. Because they go in, they shut down the restaurant, they sell all the rental boats.
Yeah.
And all they want to do is collect slip rent.
Right.
And,
And that's helped us. That's helped
that-
us.
anyway, I mean, there's nothing to entice them to come to that marina except, I don't know, put a boat in. So, you know, I don't think it's good for the lake. But Nathan, would we ever sell?
I mean, kind of like what Denny and stuff said. Good days are great, bad days are pretty bad. But we've also always said that if somebody had the right amount of money, that, you know, I mean, that'd always be a possibility. But
Well, I always thought maybe we would rehome our marina or adopt it out. That doesn't mean we'd give it away for free, but if the right person with the right personality, wasn't a corporation, came in and, you know, I would be more concerned about a fair price and not you know, a huge amount of money. But we would want somebody to, well, I mean, we'd be neighbors because we have other businesses in the area. You know, we would keep our home in the area. So I would like for it to be a good transaction, and again, like an adoption or a rehome, and not necessarily a sale. Does that make sense?
a rehoming fee.
Yeah, with the rehoming fee. Yeah, it's almost, yeah. Like, anyway, I mean, we're just a small marina. We'll never be huge, but this place would be great for a family that, you know, wants to get out of the corporate world, get in the country, fish every day like Denny does.
This is a starter marina, a good starter marina.
So, but we love our lot. I mean, we have more than just the marina. We have the wedding venue that keeps us pretty busy, keeps Wendy really busy. We love that part of the business too. Anyway, so what closing comments you guys have, unless you want to talk about something else?
I feel like we're blessed to be put in a position where the harder we work, the more money we make, and we make it for ourselves instead of for somebody else. That's the part I appreciate. And you kind of got to know, after being through season after season, that there's going to be those hard times in the summer where people lose their cool because it's really hot outside. You know, you have multiple problems to deal with. You can't get to everybody immediately, but you know that in the back of your mind that it's going to be hard. There's going to be those days. So when they do come, you can handle them a little better.
They always say you got monkeys on your back, just knock one off at a time.
Yeah.
You know,
We're fortunate, you know, a lot of times people say, man, it's so hard to work with family. And there are times it is, but we're fortunate that we all work well together. And even before the marina, we've always somewhat all worked together, and we've always had a family business. But we do work well together. Like I said, we all have our own areas that we cover. And if somebody needs help in their area, you know, we're more than happy to jump out and help. But that's one thing that we're very fortunate, is that we do all work together. We communicate well together, and you know, we're blessed to have each other.
We've had a few times where we cried. We don't do a lot of yelling as a family, but we've had a few meetings and yeah, I mean, working with family to me is easier than working with strangers. I mean,
Yeah.
we it's not for everybody though. I mean, you know, if you can't get along with your family, then yeah, you need to not go into business together. But you guys seem to have your own little part of the business and that works for you. It'd be nice if I said, oh, I don't have to worry about boats or I don't have to worry about anything, you know, in the cabins and I could go fishing like Denny.
You do.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm learning, Denny. I'm learning.
All right. I'm hoping
No.
to give you a good example.
I post all my evidence on Facebook.
I quit doing it. I said, where do you work?
Well, I have my cell phone, so I'm working.
Yeah.
They just call me for advice. I'm a consultant at this point.
You have to answer it.
I'm edging that way for consultant.
We get to practice every year because they go to Punta Cana for a couple weeks. And at that time, we're all the ones answering the phones and taking those extra calls after hours. So every year we get a little practice and get a little taste of what it's going to be like.
This year they're going to get a lot more practice.
I heard that. I heard that this is your last build and you're like, bought a motorhome.
Yes. Yes.
So,
Denny, is your wife still involved?
Oh, yeah, she's
She's the backbone.
She's the backbone.
She's the backbone.
She's the business end. She does all the bookwork, all the paperwork, pays all the bills, collects all. She's the backbone.
Good.
We just operate for.
We just keep trying to nudge him towards a PR position. Just you handle public relations and talk to the customers and we'll take care of everything else.
I'm in there. I'm a total there.
I like that.
We're going to finish this build out here next month or two. Then I'm PR fishing expert.
what about you guys, Nathan? You got any closing comments?
Now that I can
Buddy,
think
my
of.
mother-in-law is my best friend.
Do I?
Do what?
Her mother-in-law is her best friend and her boss.
Oh, well, that's good.
Lee Ellen?
I'm very lucky to get along with my in-laws and to work with my husband. But I always tell people that I've worked at the marina a lot longer than I've been with Nathan, because sometimes they kind of look at me like this is my 10th season, but people come in and act like they've never seen me before. I don't talk a ton. I talk to customers, but
And still to this day, we'll answer the phone and she'll answer the phone and they'll say, is Nathan or Richard there, or Richard or Wendy? And she's like, no, but is there something I can help you with? And they want to make a reservation.
yeah, and I'm like, Richard's gonna hand the phone to me if you ask me to make a reservation. So how about I just help you out?
Yeah. So you've really done a good job stepping in. We love having you here.
Thanks.
That'll never change.
That's awesome.
So you got comments, Lenny?
No, I think you guys are in the same boat we are. Even if you thought about selling, there's so many things to think about. If you didn't do this, what would you do? And would you want to work for somebody else?
No.
Are you going to have the flexibility that you have doing something like this? So there's good and bad, but at the end of the day, I really couldn't imagine a better gig that gives us the life that we have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's nothing
Other
else
than a few $1 million and
in the bank.
lifetime boat slippers.
But we're going to Vegas next week, so we're going to take care of that. We're going to get our future set next week. So we're out of here too.
Put the marina on green.
Yes.
No, we're leaving all the credit cards, debit cards, everything at home.
Smart.
The money we take is the money we take. That's it. So
Yeah, I'm getting, you have a good
saving up for a taxi to the airport.
Put that in your shoe.
Let's I guess we'll just wrap it up.
Great talking to you guys. We always count you all as good friends. Always there for us if we need you. And that's both.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you need anything, Denny, you let us know.
Same for you guys.
All right.
So same for you.
Thank you.
All right, we're done, Bailey.
Yeah, good talking to you guys.
All right, you too.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Richard, let's go fishing, buddy.
No.
It's too cold.
Pick you up. I know. When it warms up, we'll meet in the middle. Take care, buddy.